Hey everybody, welcome back to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, and here on my YouTube channel. And in this week's video, I'm going to show you how to add some depth and size and a little more clarity to your vocals, lead vocals and background vocals using a unique combination of reverb and delay. This is a great little tip that I want to share with you today. But before we get to that, if you like what you see in this video, please hit that subscribe button below and also hit the notification bell so you know when I put up another video. And also, I want you to go out to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, and I want to give you 5 free mixing training courses worth about $110 in value. That's 5 free courses at HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. Right on the homepage, you'll see a big orange button. Register and get your 5 free courses today. So now let's head on into Studio One, and I want to show you this. So here's a track that's just about finished being mixed, and I'm just going to play you back a little part of the end of the first verse into the chorus here. We have a lead vocal here down in yellow, and then we have 4 background vocal tracks just kind of helping out in the chorus. And this has no reverb, no delay on it at all. It's pretty dry, but there is other processing as far as EQ and compression, because as I said, the mix is just about done. I have everything going to our reverbs and delays, but everything is turned down here, and we'll demonstrate how to use this in a second. So just take a quick listen back to this, and then we'll jump in and I'll show you this little tip. So here we go.
I gave a damn, I would have already stopped. So I'll keep doing me, and you keep doing you. And if you got a problem with me, then I ain't got a problem with you. 'Cause I don't care how you think that the music that I sing isn't good enough. Well, look at me, I ain't giving up. I've been working way too hard to be worrying all the time. I don't care.
Okay, so there we go. So we got a well-produced track, great lead vocals, some nice background vocals to complement that lead vocal in the chorus, but it sounds kind of dry, sounds kind of narrow, doesn't have a lot of size to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some reverb and delay. I'm going to show you how to do this. So the first thing I do, and I'm going to preface this by saying that typically on a track like this, in most modern music, I am not someone who likes to use tons of buckets of reverb and delay where the vocal's going to sound real washy. So the key to this is we're going to get some size and some depth, but you're really not going to know that there's any reverb on it unless I point it out to you. We want it to be transparent to the listener. We want to use this in a way just to make the vocal sound a little bit larger, okay? To sound like it's a little bit above the mix. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add 4 tracks, effects tracks or buses. And in this case, I have them down here in orange. We have a delay track, okay, or a bus, an office, which is a small room reverb, a plate reverb, and a hall reverb. So we're going to add 4 tracks here, okay? And what we're going to do on our first thing we're going to do is we're going to send, via send, our lead vocal into our delay. And then we're going to send it to the office meaning a small room. That's why I call it the office. Then into a plate and then into a hall. Okay. So on my delay track, and you can see this here on our lead vocal track, here's our sends, delays into the office, into the plate, into the hall. And I did the same thing with all the background vocals as well. Okay, so now for our delay, and you can use really any plugin here. I'm just showing you what I'm using. I'm using the Sound Toys Echo Boy for my delay. Okay, and I have it set to 100% wet in an eighth note delay. Okay, I just picked a preset that they had and I just tweaked it. Okay, you can use any delay, as I said. You could set it to the settings that you want to set it to. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to solo up this lead vocal here so we don't hear the rest of the instrumentation. Now I typically do this in the context of the mix, but for this demonstration we're going to do it in solo so you can hear it. So we're going to play back this lead vocal here, just the lead vocal. We'll get rid of the backgrounds for a second, just so you can hear what we're doing. We'll mute those. So here's our lead vocal track.
I got, and if I gave a damn, I would have already stopped.
Okay, so what I do is I just send it over to the delay, and then I just kind of tweak up the delay a little bit just so I can hear it. I don't want it to be too loud. I want it to be just enough with maybe 1.5 repeats afterwards, eighth notes.
So I'll keep doing me, and you keep doing you.
Okay, something like that, okay? Now, you can hear that clearly when it's in solo, but if I were to bring the rest of the band back in, you wouldn't even hear that delay. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now for us here so we can just see. So we play back that same section with that amount of delay, and you're not even really going to hear it.
I got, and if I gave a damn, I would have already stopped. So I'll keep doing me, and you keep doing you.
Okay, there it is at the end of the line. So the way I kind of set this is I listen for those phrases when she gets to the end of the phrase. Do I hear that delay with the music? If I hear it just in its slightest amount, I tuck it back to almost where I can't hear it. Okay, and this is the trick to make it so it doesn't sound washy. Okay, so I bring up the delay with the music enough to where I can just hear it and I back it off. Now I'm going to send it to our first reverb, which I call the office. The office meaning a small room. And you can see that in the send, we went from delay. Now we're going to the office. And again, you can use any reverb. I'm using the Verb Suites Classics by Slate Digital. You can use any room reverb. I'm using a preset that I've tweaked. Okay, and I've kind of dialed out the highs here. I wanted to dial out the highs and I accentuated the lows a little bit just so it doesn't sound too tinny and bright. Okay, again on 100% wet. And now what I do, and again, I'll do this in solo so you can kind of hear it, is now I play back that same phrase and I bring in the room just a little bit. So let's bring this back a little.
I got, and if I gave a damn, I would have already stopped.
So the office or the room reverb is now kind of making that delay a little more obvious. It's a little bit more audible, right?
So I'll keep doing me.
Too much,
and you
obviously.
Keep doing you. And if you got a problem with me, then I ain't got a problem with you.
Okay, now if I were to just mute that, just the room.
Cause I don't care how you think.
Oh, we want to go back to the verse. I don't want the background vocals quite yet.
I got, and if I gave a damn, I would have already stopped.
That's with the office.
So I'll keep doing me, and you keep doing you.
Okay, so you can hear the difference. It's a little bit more accentuated here. Now, again, you can see we're not using very much. And again, if I bring back the rest of the band, and we do that, okay, and I muted the background vocals. We're just dealing with the lead vocal right now.
I got, and if I gave a damn, I would have already stopped.
Okay, so now I just may creep it up just a tiny bit.
So I'll keep doing me, and you keep doing you.
Okay, it's a little bit more. You can hear the delay a little bit more. Same now thing with the plate. Okay, now for the plate, I'm using Universal Audio Pure Plate. Again, I picked a preset that I liked and I tweaked it. Primarily, I made sure it was 100% wet. I took out some of the highs on the EQ and took out some of the bass. And I also lowered the reverb or the decay time from 3 seconds to about 2 seconds. Okay. And now we're going to do the same thing. Now we're going from the office or the room to the plate reverb and the sends. You can see that here on the lead vocal, right? Now we're going to do the same thing. And this time we're going to leave the music in play so you can hear it. And we're just going to tuck up the plate just enough to, again, where we can hear it, and we're going to back it off a little. Now, hopefully you're listening to this on either a good set of studio headphones or a good set of studio monitors. I forgot to say that at the beginning of the video. If you're listening to this on earbuds or on an iPhone or Android or something, you're not going to hear this thing because it's subtle, okay? So let's keep that in mind.
And if you got a problem with me, then I ain't got a problem with you. Cause I don't care how you think that the music that I sing isn't good enough. Well, look at me, I ain't giving up.
Okay, so now you can start to hear the delay even push out a little bit further because of the plate. Okay, so the plate is accentuating that even a little more.
I've been working way too hard to be worrying all the time. I don't care.
Okay, and right now you still really can't notice it, but when we get to the hall, you're going to see when I take all of these away, you're going to hear how it makes the vocal stand up a little taller and get a little bit more thick and it has a little bit more depth. We do the same thing with the hall. So now we've sent it to the hall reverb, the lead vocal. And for the hall, we're just using the Verb Suites Classics again. Just, picked the preset again and tweaked it a little bit. Took most of the highs out, 100% wet. Okay, and now let's tuck the hall in the same place. And let's see if we can hear a difference.
I got, and if I gave a damn, I would have already stopped.
Okay, a little bit more.
So I'll keep doing me, and you keep doing you. And if you got a problem with me, then I ain't got a problem with you.
Okay. So now once you have the relationship between the delay and the three reverbs to your liking, and again, there's no rules. The only thing that I would caution you on is do this in a very subtle way. Okay, you want a little more delay, a little bit of office, a little bit of plate, a little bit of hall, and you can mix and match these how you like. Now, once you get that kind of all together, now I've done the same thing with the background vocals here. I just kind of skipped ahead, okay? And we'll unmute these at this point so you can hear it. Let's get rid of all the solos and mutes here, okay? Did the same thing with the background vocals, sent them to the same set of tracks. You can have a whole nother grouping of delay and 3 reverbs for your background vocals too if you wanted. So you had one bank of effects for your lead vocal, one bank of effects for your background vocals, and do the same process. But for speeding up this video and for ease of use here for this demonstration, I'm just sending everything to one set of effects, if that makes any sense. So now that we have that, now I can highlight all of these and I can kind of bring them up or down as a group to see what I like. So let's try that. Let's see what happens when these background vocals kick in with this lead vocal.
'Cause I don't care how you think that the music that I sing isn't good enough. Well, look at me, I ain't giving up. I've been working way too hard.
Okay, so now that I kind of got this set to where I can barely hear it, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them all the way. Okay, I'm going to highlight, I'm going to take them all the way, I'm going to mute them. And listen to the difference. Now again, it's subtle and it's supposed to be subtle. But what you're going to hear, I'll tell you what to listen for, is that without the reverb and the reverbs and the delay, the vocal that tends to get the lead vocal especially, it seems like it's a little bit wide, has a little bit of width to it and a little bit of depth. All of a sudden when I take the delay and the 3 reverbs away, everything feels like it's almost in mono sort of. It kind of folds in, it kind of sinks back in the track. And when I bring in these 4 effects in, all of a sudden again, it kind of pushes the vocal up and kind of spreads it out a little bit. But the key is you don't really hear these buckets of reverb. It doesn't sound like it's been processed. It just sounds like kind of like that's how the vocal was originally recorded. Okay, that's the key. So I'm going to play this and I'm going to kind of mute them and unmute them. Keep your eyes on the tracks and see if you can hear the difference.
I got, and if I gave a damn, I would have already stopped. So I'll keep doing me, and you keep doing you. And if you got a problem with me, then I ain't got a problem with you. 'Cause I don't care how you think that the music that I sing isn't good enough. Well, look at me, I ain't giving up. I've been working way too hard to be worrying all the time. I don't care.
Okay, so do you hear the difference? How it feels like it's almost like everything, the vocals almost feel like it's been folded in mono without this delay and 3 reverbs. And again, it's all personal preference on how much of this you really want to hear. If the song calls for it and you want to bring it up so you hear more ambience and you hear the effect, then you can go ahead and you can do that. If it was a piano ballad, female vocal, single piano, single vocal track, I might bring up this whole grouping of delay and 3 reverbs to give it a little bit more wash because that's kind of what the track calls for. But in a lot of popular music, rock, country, pop, even heavy metal especially, where I don't want to hear the processing. I just want it to sound like it's bigger and maybe just a faint amount of a little bit of a tail there on the reverb just to give it a little bit of sauce so it's not so dry sounding. But it's supposed to be really, really subtle. Okay, so again, let's listen again. We'll go around, we'll start with it, and I'll take it away.
I got, and if I gave a damn, I would have already stopped. So I'll keep doing me, and you keep doing you. And if you got a problem with me, then I ain't got a problem with you. 'Cause I don't care how you think that the music that I sing isn't good enough. Well, look at me, I ain't giving up. I've been working way too hard to be worrying all the time. I don't care.
Okay, there you go. So that is kind of a nice little tip, and I use this all the time in a lot of my mixes. Now, some of you may be saying, well, why can't you just use a single reverb and a delay, or just use reverbs or just a delay? Can you do this with just one single kind of effect? And the answer is yes, but the problem with that is, and you ought to experiment with this, is what ends up happening is it ends up becoming much more noticeable. In order to get that size, to get that depth, to get the vocal to sound a little bit bigger and stand a little bit taller without it's sounding like that you put a bunch of effects and processing on it, you typically have to dial in a lot more when you're just using one. So by using 3 distinct reverbs, and again using a small kind of a reverb to a medium plate to a hall, kind of small, medium, large if you will, and you just give it a little bit of doses, it just kind of washes over it and it makes it appear bigger than it really is. And again, it doesn't sound like that it was actually processing. You dumped a bunch of reverb on it. But again, it's all personal preference. But I urge you to go ahead and try this on your next mix. If you ever have a vocal where it's just not sitting above the mix, or it just sounds a little thin, it doesn't sound like it's got much depth in relationship to the rest of the band, and you don't want it to sound over processed, this is a great thing to do, and I use it all the time. So I hope you found that video helpful. Again, adding depth and size to your vocals using delays and reverbs. For more videos like this, make sure you subscribe again to the channel, and also again, make sure you go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and get your 5 free mixing training courses, because once you are on my email list, I send out weekly or bi-weekly little polls to my subscribers to ask you what kind of videos do you guys want to see on our YouTube channel. In this video and a lot of the other videos that you see on this channel are suggestions that have come directly from my community and my followers, and I want to give you guys the videos that you want to see. So once again, thanks for joining me here at homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.